everyone, today's video is going to be a Tesco vegan food haul. I have been obsessed with these videos recently. I feel like I've probably mentioned on my channel before how I'm not much of a shopper, but food shopping is like the one type of shopping that I actually enjoy. So I feel like where people are watching, say, Primark hauls, Tesco and Asda and Aldi food hauls are like my jam. So I've just got a Tesco shop delivered behind me. I've set it all up on my sofa because the lighting in my kitchen is terrible, and I figured I would just run through with you guys what I picked up this week. I don't actually normally shop at Tesco. My normal supermarket of choice is Asda. There is one walking distance to me, so I normally walk there and get my shopping each week. But yesterday I was lying in bed in the morning and I just really couldn't be bothered to walk into town and lug all my shopping back. Obviously I'm trying to do bigger shops now, so this will last me probably around 2 weeks, and the thought of having to carry that all back because I don't drive is just, it's not fun. So in bed yesterday I got up the Tesco app and there happened to be a slot available for today, literally the next day, and I figured I would just treat myself and get a delivery instead to save myself the hassle. And it also meant I could treat myself to a few bits from Tesco that I don't normally get because Tesco is not walking distance from me. So I only ever pick stuff up from Tesco if I do an online delivery, and they've got such a good vegan range, so I had to treat myself to a few little bits and bobs. I would say on average I spend around £25 a week on food shopping. I say on average, I know that because I budget all of my stuff that I spend and I've got a spreadsheet that tells me how much I spend on groceries, but that £25 does include things like toilet roll, cleaning products. If I pick up like a shampoo or something from Asda, it all just goes into the same receipt, so I clock all of it as grocery money. So probably around £20 on food, I would say, each week. This shop was around £45 I think, but this will last me a couple of weeks, and it's got some bits which will last me way beyond that because I like to stockpile on the heavy things when I do an online order. So I would say I do an online order maybe once every 2 months or so, just to stock up on milk and cans that I am not going to carry from town. So I will show you guys what I picked up today. So this is an overview of everything that I've picked up. I tried to organise it into like fresh things, cupboard food, and then fridge and freezer bits. So I will start with the fruit and veg. The first thing that I picked up was some curly kale. This was actually a substitution. I think I ordered a bag about half the size for 62p, but they had a bigger one in stock. So I've ended up with double the kale for the same price. So I'm not going to complain about that. I have been trying to increase how much kale I've been eating because I was not a big fan previously. I associated it with like chewing for 400 years and that was about it. But I have become obsessed with a garlic pasta dish recently, which is literally just garlic, olive oil, some tomatoes and kale mixed with some spaghetti. And it's a really easy way to eat kale and it actually be enjoyable, so that is why I picked that up. I did also pick up some spinach as well. This was £1.99 and I literally put this in anything. I don't really use lettuce or anything like that, so if I have a salad it will always be spinach. In wraps, in cooked meals, I will literally shove this in absolutely anything. If you've seen my eating green video for 24 hours, I even put it in pancakes and it was still edible, so I picked a bag of that up. I then got a bag of 4 ripen at home avocados. This was £1.31. My weekend breakfast of choice is always avocado on toast, so that is why I picked those up. I then picked up 2 packets of cherry tomatoes, which were 50p each. I have become absolutely obsessed with these recently. I was never much of a tomato person, but cherry tomatoes now are my go-to for any meal. So that pasta dish that I mentioned, I will use probably about half a bag in that, or I will make like bruschetta with these tomatoes and some garlic and olive oil as well. So that's why I got 2 bags of those. I then also picked up 2 things of mushrooms. These were 82p each. And again, these are a proper staple vegetable for me. I will put these in most meals. I will have them fried on toast or any sort of pasta dish. I will always throw mushrooms in. So that is why I got 2 of those. I also picked up a bag of peppers for 95p. Now I will say I prefer Asda's peppers because you can get a much bigger bag for better value. But I needed some of these because again, I have these with most meals. So just picked up 1 bag of those. I then got some garlic for 62p. Again, this goes in every single meal. It is not a meal if it does not have garlic in, and I was running out, so I picked these up. Also, you'll notice for the most part, I always go for the cheap brand for all my fruit and veg. So I think in Tesco it's this Redmere Farms brand. Just because I don't see the difference. I feel like they taste exactly the same as any other brand of vegetable, and it does save money, so that is why I always go for those ones. I then got 2 limes for 30p each. I will always put this on my avocado toast, or if I have any sort of Mexican meal, I'll squeeze a little bit on top. And I will also use these in my gin and tonics. I then got a bag of apples for 79p. These are just for snacking on. They are gala apples, which are my favourite type of apples. They say they're small apples, but I feel like they're very normal size, but maybe I'm just used to smaller apples, I don't know. I picked up a huge bag of potatoes for £1.19. I will have these for various dinners as chips or mash or roast potatoes. To be honest, I keep my potatoes way longer than I probably should. They normally go pretty sprouted and gross looking, but I just chop those bits off and eat them anyway. Haven't died yet, but it does mean these will probably last me a good few weeks. I got some red onions for 67p. I normally go for white onions, but I've still got some of those in the cupboard at the moment, so I picked up some red just because there's some recipes I want to make where red onions would be way better, so chickpea salads and things where fresh onion is just nicer. So that is why I picked those up. I have got a hefty red cabbage, which was 59p. I can't get over the size of this cabbage. It is insane, but I have got this to make some homemade coleslaw with. I make that fairly regularly with a homemade mayo recipe. Super easy, super cheap, and goes with basically any meal I eat. So that is why I got that. I can't get over how massive it is. And then finally for fruit and veg, I've got a bag of carrots for 47p. These again will last so long. I'm ashamed to admit how long I keep carrots in the fridge for without them going bad. But I will have these either to snack on or put them in some meals. If I have any sort of sausage and mash meal, I'll always have carrots on the side. So that is why I've got those. Moving on to all of the cupboard bits and bobs. To start with the bread stuff that I picked up, I got these bagels, which were on offer for £1. I'm actually a really big fan of the Warburton's brand because they come pre-sliced. And I like to keep my bagels in the freezer so they don't go off quickly, and it just means if they're pre-sliced, it is so much easier to get them out and put them straight in the toaster. Got the sesame type because that is arguably the best type of bagel, so I will have those mostly for brunches. I'll put avocado on them or make like a bruschetta with those. I then picked up these vegan brioche buns for £1.20. I was so excited when I was doing this Tesco shop that I could pick these up because I've been wanting to try them for ages. I feel like burgers are just better with a brioche bun, and that's something that I really miss. So I'm excited to make some burgers this week with these. And then the final bread thing that I picked up was just these wholemeal tortilla wraps. These were 95p and I have these literally all the time, probably once a day I reckon. I have got quite a few lunch ideas for this week with these, some chickpea wraps and some jackfruit wraps. And I will also have these as like garlic bread. If I'm having spaghetti for dinner, I'll make like a garlic wrap, or any sort of like kebab meal as well, I'll put in these. So these will be used very quickly. I don't normally buy like loaves of bread when I go shopping just because I find they go off too quickly and I don't have enough room in my freezer for like a whole loaf of bread. But I find that anything I would have toast for, I use the bagels, and then sandwiches, I just use wraps. And these I'm gonna keep in the freezer for when I have burger dinners. In terms of other cupboard bits, I've got 8 cartons of milk, which are 59p each. Tesco's cheap vegan soy milk is actually my favourite. I don't know what it is, I just don't find it has a particularly strong soya flavour, and it whips up into like mayonnaise really nicely as well. So I've stocked up on those. This is the one thing that I always buy far too many of when I do an online order, just because the thought of carrying these back from town is just not fun. They are so heavy and I probably go through maybe 1.5 a week, so this will keep me going for quite a while. I then got some chocolate Shreddies for £2. I normally like to treat myself to a cereal every food shop, just for when I'm feeling very lazy in the morning and I can't be bothered to make porridge. and I noticed that this one was vegan and I've not tried it before, so I figured that would be my cereal treat for this week. I then picked up some brown rice. This is like the boil in the bag variety, which I've actually never tried before. I know it's more expensive than just getting like a bag of the standard rice, but they had sold out of that and this worked out cheaper than if I got like a branded variety of brown rice. So gonna give this a go. I'm actually a really big fan of brown rice in general. I don't like how long it takes to cook, but I feel like it's got a way better texture and taste than white rice, and I was out, so that's why I picked that up. I then got a few different types of cans. I got 4 cans of baked beans. These were on offer for £1. I really like the no salt and sugar added baked beans from Tesco's, so stocked up on those. I got a can of jackfruit for £1.60. I love the fact that supermarkets are now selling this as like a regular thing. I'm going to be making some Chipotle jackfruit wraps this week for my lunch, so that is why I got that. I got a can of Mushy Peas for 29p. This is a slightly weird purchase for me. I don't think I've ever bought this in my life, but I've got some vegan fish in the freezer and I figured I could make like a proper vegan fish and chips meal. And I feel like a meal of fish and chips wouldn't be complete without some mushy peas. So I'm hoping these taste just like the ones you get at a chip shop. If not, I will have to try find a way to hide them in a different meal because they're not the most appetizing thing, but it was cheap, so I figured I would pick that up. And then another weird one for me was this can of Sweetcorn for 35p. I am actually not a big fan of Sweetcorn, or so I've always said, but I feel like I'm growing to like it a little bit. And the chickpea tuna recipe that I'm going to be making for lunch I thought would go quite nicely with some sweet corn, and it's a way to get some more veg in, so that is why I got that. And then finally for cans, I got these black beans for 55p. Normally when I do an online shop I buy more cans. I would have got some chickpeas and some kidney beans, but the last order that I did had loads of substitutions and I ended up with so many cans of chickpeas and kidney beans that I am still very much stocked up. So just grabbed 1 can of black beans for when I make the jackfruit dish that I'm going to be making because it has some black beans in. I am a big fan of black beans and way prefer them to kidney beans, so I will use these in things like chili as well. I then got some onion gravy granules. These were 70p and I'm out of these, so I was just restocking up on those. I actually use gravy granules in loads of my different sauces, so not just for gravy. If I'm making like a bolognese or a chili, I will always add some of these in as well, so just stocked up on those. And then I also got some free from pesto for £1.50. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. I will use this for pasta dishes, or if I make like a pastry tart, I'll sometimes use this as the base, which is really good. And I'm out of pesto. I find pesto goes off so quickly, so I'm always having to throw away a little bit of the end of the jar. So I'm hoping I will use this up before it goes mouldy. And then the last couple of cupboard bits that I picked up were this bottle of tonic water. This was 50p, and this is just for when I have some gin and tonics. And then I also treated myself to this orange chocolate bar. This was £1 and I absolutely am obsessed with dark chocolate orange at the moment. So this will be my evening treat sometime this week. And then finally moving on to the fridge and freezer bits. These were very much a treat in my Tesco shop. You would have already seen on my channel the taste testing video that I did with a lot of these products. I'm using filming that video as an excuse to buy them because I wouldn't normally maybe buy this many meat alternatives and cheese and bits like that because they are more expensive. If you've not seen that video, I will link it down below. But I'm going to be taste testing all of these different bits and bobs this week. I think they're all new to Tesco because I've not seen them in there before, but that might just be because I don't shop at Tesco very often. But the first thing that I got were these garlic Kievs. These were £2 for 2 and I miss garlic Kievs so much. I don't think I ever had them as like a meat, like a proper chicken Kiev, but when I was veggie I had these quite often and they were so good. So I'm hoping these are also good. I've not seen like this brand before. I don't know if this is like a Tesco own brand, but I'm intrigued to try it. I also picked up a vegan steak, which I've actually just noticed is open, which is not ideal. I don't know if that means it's going to be edible or not. I'm going to be so sad if it's not because I was planning on having this for my dinner this evening. This is just a vegan steak. I literally have no idea how it works. It comes with some garlic butter. This was £2.65, so more of an expensive meat alternative. I don't even know if I would have liked steak if I ate meat, but I just feel like it's one of those things I have to try. I then also picked up some vegan burgers. These were £1.50, which I think is really reasonable for 2 burgers. It is like the realistic meat alternative style of burger, which is my favourite. although I do find these are quite hit and miss, so I'm hoping I like them. Some realistic vegan burgers are just too realistic for me and I can't stand them, so gonna try that this week with those brioche buns. I did also pick up some frozen burgers as well. These are £1.75, so they are very, very affordable. I've had these in the past and I really like them. They're just cheap and cheerful, so this will be more of like a standard dinner, and then when I want to treat myself it'll be with these ones. And then the final thing that I picked up was this Lumi. This was £2.30 and I've seen this doing the rounds on Instagram recently and I've been very desperate to try it. I have tried the Violife version and I wasn't a big fan, so I'm hoping this one is better. I really, really miss halloumi, so if this even comes close, I will be very excited. But again, you would have already seen my reactions to all of these bits and bobs in that last video, so fingers crossed I was a fan. So that is everything I picked up in this week's Tesco shop. In total, it came to just under £40, and like I've already mentioned, this will probably be 2 weeks worth of shopping along with the bits I already have in my cupboards. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see any other videos like this or any videos where I show you guys the meals I make with the stuff that I've picked up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!